Now, by the 1970s, it took roughly 3 hours to get across the Atlantic. Yes, thanks to the supersonicness of the Concorde, you could get across the pond really quickly. But 30 years earlier, it took 42 hours to fly across the Atlantic on a plane that looked like this. The Boeing 314 Clipper. Yes, definitely one of the earlier Boeings, but it had a typical Boeing safety record. Surprisingly though, only a quarter of these airplanes crashed. But it was a palace to fly on. Look at those relaxed passengers with weird sunglasses. Don't know why. Look how everyone is enjoying a nice dinner on board. Ladies can freshen themselves up in the bathroom. A movie theater on board this airplane where they watched plane movies. What a flying boat indeed. Flying right over Washington. Look, they're even puzzling. And smoking especially. Playing chess, no troubles. Little bit of sleep, no troubles either. But this plane was one of the first planes to actually fly across the Atlantic, if you have what today's money would be $10,000 at least. Was it very comfortable? Probably not. Anyway, this is what a route would look like. We would fly off from Baltimore, then to New York, then to Shediac, then to Bodwood, and then across the Atlantic. Indeed, in not necessarily high comfort. Today we're going to figure out why, because we've got this beautiful model here in the X-Plane Flight Sim, and we are spawned here somewhere in Baltimore. You know why we have great airplanes today with great airports, with great runways? Probably because of war. All those airports had grass runways, not necessarily nice for a heavy plane like this, so flying boats were really much more of a thing. After all these places that we're flying today have ocean, big water near them, so you can land on them and also crash on them. Like this plane right here, this is the Yankee Clipper. To be seen by this writing, this airplane had an enormous crash in Lisbon in Portugal in the 1940s. But let's imagine this. We're now loading up our plane, people being ferried up. Let's take a look at what this plane was like to fly here in the cockpit. This is where the main pilots would sit. This is an engineering panel. This plane doesn't seem super hard to fly. I mean, there wasn't a lot of tech. And there's also navigation place. Anyway, let's go and do a little bit of a tour here of this model. Obviously square windows. This airplane wasn't pressurized, of course, which is going to become a big problem later. There is water entering the plane. Is this leaking? Is this supposed to happen? Why is there water inside of the plane? Yeah, this looks all right. Let's go ahead and see if I can turn on this plane. So the cockpit is not necessarily organized at all. Here's, for example, the main battery. Pull up for on. Perfect. Let's see. Let's go and turn on the magnetos of the engines, and we should be able to start it up already. Yes, yes, yes. I can hear something. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the starting worked. Perhaps we need a little bit of fuel right here. So this is the fuel. Yes, there we go. Look at this engine being able to turn on with a little bit of smoke. Yes, we're turning on all the engines right now. We're kind of spinning because we haven't turned them all on. Perfect. Now this airplane was extremely loud. Look at how close the propeller is to the actual fuselage. One of the very uncomfortable things. Now the plane's actually turned on. That's kind of all we have. No, we don't have a for-flight iPad or literally anything. All we can do is increase the wing flaps or decrease them. Let's maybe put the wing flaps a little bit up, and here we are already on board a flying boat that doesn't really have great steering. All we have is our differential thrust, but what I really want to do is take off not facing the bridge. Now look at this big wing with big fuel tanks, and that is the main goal of this plane. This thing can do legs of 20 hours at a time. After all, we can fit 10 tons of fuel on board this plane, which is the only thing that's making it able to actually do what we want to do. All right, let's maybe increase the power a little bit. Yes, the sounds are horrible. Okay, let's do a bit of a water drift. All good, and we can take off facing the bay. Now, this is a flying boat, so the takeoff is a little bit rough. Let's go. We're doing a drift. We're doing a drift. I'm very proud of that. Oh, maybe too much drift. Okay, all good. Let's go take off now on board the 314 Clipper. Yes, and that goes in a jiffy. Yes, not bad at all. Now, this plane is slow. It's big, but it's very slow. Our airspeed is measured in knots, and we're at 60. We're 60 knots, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you may ask, well, Swiss, all right, so we're flying. We don't have fancy smancy things that we would have in the flight sim, like this moving map. No such thing as GPS or inertial reference system or anything. Instead, we have a man with a circling device and a map. And we have VORs at New York, a navigation aid with a frequency. Let's go ahead and do that in 113.1. Let's go ahead and enter that in right now onto the radio compass. Yes, and we see that compass is aligning. It tells us that we're very much on course. Perfect. Yep, that is good. Let's just maintain this course right here. Now, does this airplane have like an autopilot? I don't think so. Well, it surely had trim. That's good. And it also had something called an auto gyro made by the company of Sperry, the Sperry A3. And it was an early automated pilot system, which sucked. I have no idea how it works. So I have to trim this airplane out a little. This is very, very well. Everybody, we have already reached cruise altitude. This is one of the main problems of this plane. It can only fly up to maximum 8,000 feet. This is fine for when you're in a little Cessna, you know, cruising around for, you know, maybe a little bit of sightseeing, but it doesn't get fun when you end up in the ocean, because like the weather gets really harsh. For example, in 1947, a Boeing Clipper ran out of fuel because the headwind coming from New York was just too hard, and so they were forced to ditch 700 miles east of Newfoundland. Everyone was rescued on board, but they were drifting on high seas for 24 hours. Low altitude flying isn't fun, and it isn't great. It's one of the big problems when, for example, also you have an engine failure on board a plane across the Atlantic, because you have to descend, and the weather down there is far, far worse, because normally nowadays we overfly weather in planes. We can't do that here. So if, for example, in let's say a storm that can suddenly happen, after all, we don't have very good weather forecasting models back then, it can be a big trouble. Oh no, that's a big cloud over there. But everybody, we're well on our, well, sort of, it's not really a straight line. We're kind of well on our way to New York, which is probably over there. But we'll definitely be on our way from Baltimore for more than 2 hours or so to New York. Because after all, we're flying at a ground speed of 172 knots. We're about as slow as a Cessna, with about as much noise as a Cessna. Meanwhile, though, we can just take our time, go down the stairs, and enjoy the view from a plane that's very slow. And it's very uncomfortable. Okay, no, wait, hold on. We're in a bit of trouble now. Oh, okay, we've entered a storm. That happens at our altitude. All is good. What is this? We're descending, apparently. This is a big problem now. I can't see anything, and we don't even have like a proper artificial horizon. No problem. Just a little bit of minute turbulence. All good. We're gonna make it through. All fine. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna skip time a little bit and make sure to stay on track. Just keep pushing. Okay, we've got a bit of turbulence now. All fine. I just want to stay on track here, heading wise. All good. Holy moly. Yes, we've actually been able to escape the clouds. No trouble. We can just keep flying. Now, as you can see, all is looking well. Our radio compass looks fine. And well, what is this? The Hudson Bridge, New York, ladies and gentlemen. When you're flying slow like this, navigation really isn't a problem. And we're now flying fast because we're descending into New York. 200 knots. Wow. And we can now reduce our engine power. We're flying extremely quick here into New York, kind of just flexing. Hello, everybody. We are rich. You are poor. Now, the Empire State Building would have already been there, right? It's over there. Let's go ahead and just fly across the Brooklyn Bridge and come in for a nice landing. I'm actually glad we've been able to find, well, I didn't have to use the map. We've been able to find New York using just VOR. Very old school. All right, look at this. Everybody's impressed by our extreme flying capabilities. Let's go ahead and pass under the bridge and just touch down nicely. Okay, that went well. Let's go ahead and touch down now. Oh, we're fast. We're very fast. Water landing is a bit tricky always, but there we go. Look at this. We're able to stop. No, we're not. I think we've touched down at least. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. The Boeing Clipper plane has landed into New York with 60 people on board. Definitely a possible number. I'm glad we live in the modern times. We're not a quarter of airplane's model crashed. What do you think about the Boeing Clipper? Very revolutionary plane. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night. The special thanks goes out to my members, my supporters, Guns Killer, R27, James Duram, That Dude, Anime Gods of Gaming, Derek, Insider Plane, Nishijitsu Fanner, Professional Jamal, Ryland Williams, and New the York. You've got beautiful names.